Hello and welcome to the Sequire Spotlight. I'm Jonathan Miller, Vice President at Trax, and today we're speaking with Gary Campbell, CEO of Cytta Corp, which is listed on the OTCQB under the ticker symbol CYCA. Gary previously led the development of Cytta's proprietary Doctor Direct remote patient monitoring technology. Formerly as Rocket Info CEO, he introduced online instant news delivery technology to the news industry. And earlier, as ScreenPhone CEO, he partnered with Samsung to connect medical peripherals to their internet appliance, creating the world's first web-based remote medical monitoring system. And before that, he was also part of the team that created the first prepaid cellular phone, the TracFone, and connected cellular rental system. Mr. Campbell has both a law and a business degree. Gary, thank you for joining us here today. How are you doing?
Well, I'm doing great, Jonathan, and thank you for that intro. It's nice to remember all of the other things and start thinking about what we're able to bring right now. So that's exciting.
Absolutely. And currently, as your role as CEO of Cytta Corp, you're developing and distributing proprietary technology that radically shifts how video is streamed, consumed, transferred, and stored. Would you like to elaborate a little bit more on your vision there?
Sure. We call that the super technology, superior utilization of processing resources. Super is a proprietary codec for compressing and decompressing video, images, anything along those lines. It's incredibly efficient, and it's incredibly good at doing the compression and then the decompression. So it's superior to most every other standard codec. Basically, we like to think about it on a 100-to-1 basis, which is stunning from that point of view. So primary markets for us with that had been the military side, because again, a lot of this is pretty spooky stuff, and we're very, very careful who gets their hands on our technology there. So, and along those lines, we've given a license to a spin-out entity that can really work well in that military and defense contractor space called Reticulate Micro, and they have a license to do that and are proceeding very well, and Cytta owns a large percentage of shares in that entity. So that's what we've done with that, although of course we still own the codec and what we're doing there. So from the super compression, we devised a technology to allow us to transcode that codec, because it's proprietary, so that people could watch it anywhere on their phones, etc. So that transcoding technology we call IGAN, Incident Global Area Network, and that transcoding technology turned out to be useful for every video image, everything anybody was ever trying to share. So we've spent the last year building that particular platform and that particular capability, and are now just starting to move it into the marketplace for first responders in the first instance.
Very impressive. Now, I understand most of this tech is used for military applications, but I do understand that Cytta has outlined a development pathway to provide enterprise clients with storage and streaming capabilities on a secure network. Is this moving more into the consumer space?
Yes, absolutely. And with the little division of interest we created with Reticulate Micro, where Cytta is staying 100% on the consumer side, as you said. And, all of our developments are focused on initially safety and security on the consumer side. And then we have a whole suite of products and pieces that we're going to be continuing to develop and develop into the market over the next year.
It sounds very promising. I know where we're at in North Houston, we could use some faster streaming services. So how did you get involved in this space? What are you most passionate about? What drove you to being here with Cytta?
Cytta originally, came to me because I was involved, I had a medical problem, torn and detached retinas, went blind for a while, and Cytta was a company that had some medical technology in it that needed some help. So I got the company back in 2009, and then we started looking at the things that we could develop, develop software, develop products that could really change the world. That led us to remote medical monitoring. We had a great great run with that. We had a lot of big clients. Then unfortunately, Obamacare hit and changed the dynamic. So that product was no longer viable, even though the technology was wonderful. However, fortunately, my partner in Cytta, back from the earliest days, William Castleman II, White House counsel with President Ford, one of my dear friends over the years, we had access to some DoD technology, and we were given access to the super technology and the people who developed it. And again, Cytta entered into that agreement with them in 2013. And it sat there until it appeared to us that remote medical monitoring wasn't going anywhere. Our other big players, Honeywell and Philips, also got crushed at that time. So we moved over full time into the compression technology. And, very fortunate that, really talented people. Michael Collins, who's the co-developer of the technology, joined Cytta and has been really the visionary behind that since that point in time. We did some amazing things with that technology, flying a small drone, compressing 4K from that drone, streaming it losslessly to the ground in real time on a particular military base, which sort of wowed the military. They've never seen anything like that. That was the first time in history anybody had streamed 4K from a drone wirelessly. So we got that record, and then from there, that side took off along those lines. And then, as I say, we started developing the IGAN side of the house. We had it as a product that required hardware and software. So that was IGAN 1.0. The team decided that it would be far more effective if there was no hardware, all software. And, we were fortunate in, I assume the end of December-ish, that actual base product was finalized and able to really start going out into the first responder marketplace full-time, rather than through the beta clients that we've been working with through the year. We use beta clients when we're dealing with our software. They come in, they tell us exactly what they need. So, Dallas Police Department has been a primary partner in that regard in guiding us in all of the law enforcement needs of the IGAN.
Wow, impressive journey. As a drone pilot myself, I'd be more than happy to be one of your beta civilian test pilots.
Well, if you've got your 107, we're interested in talking to you.
All right, excellent. I can be in touch then.
Yes, please.
So I often hear that military technology is, years ahead of civilian known technology. How does one get involved in this space other than just having the connections, a close friend in your case, to develop or expand these type of applications in a more civilian market?
Well, that's really, been my forte. And, when we get exposed to something, I mean, you get exposed to a lot of technologies over the years, and I've been doing this for a long time. So, you have to see something that's really going to change the world. You have to see that it actually works and can do what it's doing. And surprisingly, you can find those technologies. It sounds very rare, but finding these baby unicorns is really what I like to look for. Technologies that can change things, that are developed, but just for one reason or another, perhaps the developers are a little bit odd. Perhaps, and when you're talking about developers, odd is a normal descriptive word for them.
Absolutely. I think they prefer that term, actually. No one wants to be normal nowadays. And as you and I were speaking before we started filming here, the last 3 years have come about with a bunch of different obstacles and challenges. How is everything from the pandemic to the recession to shipping obstructed what you've been doing or challenged your business?
Well, the normal supply chain problems, and that was really one of the decisions. We were using military-grade ruggedized laptops and embedding the IGAN technology in those and then distributing those. And during the pandemic, the supply chain made it impossible for us to secure the particular pieces that we were putting into those devices on a normal basis, which is what started our discussion for let's just turn it all into software as a service product and do away with the hardware side. So it created problems, but it also pushed us in a new direction. And, the team has done an incredible job of turning it into a completely downloadable software product. Literally, they can be up and running in 3 seconds.
Wow. And I think all these obstacles have really forced us to evolve in different ways, sometimes for the better. What do you see is on the horizon for Cytta? What, as investors, can we keep an eye out for to add on to what you've already mentioned?
Well, the first thing is we've added, some really incredible people to the team. Natalia Sokolova and John Bristol, who've worked together. They have a tremendous amount of experience on the sales, marketing, and the organizational side. I'd worked with Natalia before in Cytta when we were doing the remote monitoring, so she's a huge addition to the team. I'm excited that she agreed to join us and take a formal role with us. So adding the sales and marketing side, now that we have the product finished, will allow us to really expand the market in the safety and security side. So law enforcement, we've got a product that's really, really good for law enforcement. There are going to be some add-ons that we'll add during the year that will make it indispensable. But attached to that, we've been pushed in the direction of, given that what the IGAN does for all the police officers that are involved with it is very similar to a situation in a school. So literally, we were asked by Sheriff Mastronardi in Ocean County, is there some way I can use this IGAN to protect the 200 schools in Ocean County, New Jersey? And that provided an interesting challenge for us. And we came up with a model for that, both a very simple SOS system and a more complicated system that provides different levels of safety and security, both for the teachers, administrators at the front end, who will be the front-facing portion of the system. Now, ultimately, a system where all of their students can be reporting up as well, and law enforcement through the IGAN, as long as the appropriate law enforcement organization has an IGAN, they're getting these notices and information in real time from the school, which has been obviously a huge problem before when you're dealing through 911, et cetera. And also then they have the ability to go in and use those cameras and microphones on any smartphone in the school, ultimately any remote camera they have in the school as well. So it's a whole new concept that provides a completely superior level of safety and security for the schools and our children.
Wow, what a tremendous application. It sounds like you're very passionate about solving challenging problems as well as making a difference. Is that fair to say? That is really what motivates us here in terms of the school projects and the ability to go in there. Not just, some of the issues also occur in, religious institutions, religious schools. And again, any time there's, something where we can add safety and security to the people that are using the system, that really motivates us. And honestly, saving a child's life would be, the highest accolade I could have for the team and the system at the end of the exercise. Absolutely. And you mentioned you brought on some new additions to your team. Obviously, having the right people in the right positions is critical to a big mission like this. What would you say are some of Cytta's bigger strengths in addition to having the right team?
Well, the right team is the key, but our strength is the developing of technologies and the developing of platforms. So we don't just build an application, we build it as a whole new type of platform, which has all kinds of different capabilities. So, talking about the IGAN particularly, yes, it does everything with the law enforcement organizations. Yes, it will do everything in the school environment. There'll be an expanded piece of that that will deal with the families and their children, which will be something that any parent in the country rather can implement from their home and their system. So call that, home-based system. And ultimately, we will be adding that to everybody out there. However, one of the other big pieces we have is the communications and collaboration piece. So again, it's used by all of the police officers, but for that piece or that model, we'll be creating a specified product around that and a GUI, and everything we build is double ratcheted, encrypted, which is high-grade military encryption. So if you're using the IGAN, you can be certain nobody's going to be hacking into that unless they have a quantum computer, and they're pretty rare these days. So all of your video communications, all of your conversations, all of your text messaging is completely encrypted. It runs through a special virtual server for each particular client that we have, and it's sandboxed off from everybody else in the system. So you can count on everything being secure with what we do.
Fantastic. And it sounds like a lot of this technology could potentially down the road have applications in different industries. What would you say are some obstacles affecting the business or the performance currently?
Yeah, the first obstacle is, obviously the nature of capital markets. As a ex-securities lawyer from a long time ago, the OTC markets are very imperfect. It's very much better to uplist your company, get yourself on NASDAQ when you're dealing with a real exchange. And, those are things, we've been talked to about that by numerous groups at this point. We've declined to do that because we want to introduce the technologies first. We want to have the sales into the marketplace. And then, at some point we'll obviously look to that end. So working with an imperfect market is a little difficult because it's harder to raise capital, and it's harder for various types of institutions to even participate in this market. So from a participation point of view, we'll probably look at more spinouts of pieces of this technology in terms of raising the type of funding we're going to need for the ongoing elements in the next year. And that's something we're talking about as well.
That's great. Yeah, the past few years, the capital markets have been a rough ocean, and having the right captain at the helm can definitely make a difference. And it seems like Cytta has that in order with you in charge. Is there any closing remarks, anything we can keep an eye out for as far as maybe press releases you can lead to, events you may be presenting at, things like that?
Haven't determined which events yet. There'll be a lot of press releases coming out. We were kind of in a quiet development phase, through the fall, through Christmas. And then this year we've been bringing out a lot of specifics for the IGAN itself. We'll be announcing that it's available through the Apple Store now. And that's a fully functional IGAN they can have on their iPhones and run it from there. So that's quite an achievement from us. Android will be coming behind that. So that's, something coming up in the very near future. And some of the bigger pieces that we're working on, we tend to work with partners, big ones. And we're in discussions with what I would call our broadcasting piece, which hopefully somewhere here in the next couple of months we'll be able to replace Zoom as a broadcasting feature. And we demonstrated that when we sent the team to the Amazon jungle and then streamed it in real time back to New York for World Conservation Society, and then 10,000 of their members watched that in real time. So that was the real world demo of our broadcasting capabilities. So that'll be a product. Coming along with that will be content delivery networks as the content builds up on our side. And we're really excited about some of our discussions right now. with the artificial intelligence groups, in that, you know, our compression can deliver everything faster to them, which again makes the AI more efficient, and a lot of the things we can do on the server side. So expect to see something about that coming up in the next 6 months as well.
Sounds like a lot of exciting things on the horizon. We're looking forward to that. Are there any closing remarks you'd like to leave us with?
Yes, you know, I'd like to say that, you know, I'd like to thank everybody for, you know, that's participated on the Cytta side and that's involved with us, letting us get to here. You know, I know, you know, capital markets have been, you know, difficult for everybody there, but, you know, we've got a very good group of people involved with the company. We're excited about that. We're really excited about the technologies we're going to be able to deliver. And, you know, everybody just has to remember, you know, when you're making it yourself from scratch, it just takes a little longer sometimes. So.
Absolutely. There's no shortage of challenges when you're doing it yourself. And where can investors continue to follow along your story? Is it best to go to your website, your social media?
Yes, we have, you know, a well-developed social media presence. It'll be more well-developed. Some of the groups coming in with us now, you know, particularly Natalia, have great skill sets in those areas. So I think they can expect to see a lot more from us in all social media elements. Last year we didn't do it very much. This year, now that we're close to, you know, having the products hit the market in a couple of different areas, we've got a lot of interesting stories to come.
That's fantastic. Well, we look forward to personally following along and tracking your success. And thank you so much for being here today and sharing your personal story and Cytta's story with our viewers.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you, Gary.